If you are looking to master expired listings, then make sure to have a pen and paper ready because in the next couple minutes, myself and sales trainer Bill Crespo, we're going to be breaking down the strategies and the techniques that you have to be using and implementing in your business to start winning more of these expired leads and turn them into listings. So we're just going to get right to it. Bill, welcome.
Hey, welcome. Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me on. This is going to be exciting.
Yeah, I know you like expireds. I love expireds, but for someone that's watching that maybe is not too familiar with you, just go ahead and share a little bit about your background.
Yes, I was born a poor. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, I was in real estate for this is my 40th year in real estate, to be honest with you, and um, I've been coaching for like 20 some years and been close to 30,000 coaching sessions. I was a former Mike Ferry coach and worked for MAPS. And then last 10, 11 years, I've been on my own coaching people inside this industry and outside the industry. And I can tell you that every industry has a problem with prospecting. So what's interesting about our industry is that it's a necessity to stay alive. So I've been selling for probably over 40 years in general, 45 years in sales, period. So and I'm still alive and working.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I know you have a lot of experience. When I got into the business, I started with expirers and the for sale by owners. And if you're watching this, Bill and I have done a live stream. I think it was almost an hour on just for sale by owners. So make sure to go and watch that because I promise you there's going to be a lot of info there that if you want to go after these expireds and for sale by owners, you're going to get a lot of tips. But obviously today we're going to just focus on expireds.
Mhm.
So first of all, what makes expireds so much different from going after like for sale by owners?
Well, I mean, expireds are going to be in most cases a little bit more immediate. I mean, FISBOs could be immediate. I mean, FISBOs is a courtship that you have to process and keep going with systems, but an expired could be ready today. I was talking to a client just today. He was saying, even the old expireds are going to be things that that can actually convert today, and that's really important. That's why expireds needs to be part of your mix and your outbound calling. So, and you got to get good at it because a lot of people are calling, and I think a lot of people are getting some issues with the responses, and it's because of some simple things that they need to fix.
So do you think expireds is easier or harder than for sale by owners?
Wow, that's a good question. I think that they all have its thing that you have to get better at. But I think expireds, when you look at low hanging fruit, when you look at if you look at the hierarchy of what's the best lead you should be working on, expireds would be top of the list. Then for sale by owners, right? And then center of influence and all the other areas that you're working in. So expireds could be really good, but I do think that um, you have a lot of people calling now, and a lot of people are not that good at doing it. So you could easily do something in a way that's different that can cause you to get that listing. And we'll talk about that a little more today as we continue.
Yeah, absolutely. And also with expireds, you know that these homeowners are people that have gone through the process of hiring an agent. So it's not like they're opposed to working with an agent
Right.
versus a for sale by owner that might be like, you know what, I don't want to work with you. I got this on my own. Just don't call me. If you bring a buyer, maybe we'll work together.
Right.
So just like you say, with expireds, I know when I first started, being brand new, I had my scripts. I didn't sound good. I sounded like a robot. People were hanging up on me. They would be like, "Why are you asking me so many questions?" So, with that being said, I kind of want to jump into a quick role play. Because for those of you that are watching, that are tuning in, I'm telling you, you're going to learn a lot in the next couple minutes. And as I'm doing this role play, please go ahead and drop in the comments the typical objections that you hear when you're going after expireds, because we want to know. Maybe we'll cover them or just what questions you have when it comes to expired listings and prospecting them. So
Mhm.
we'll go ahead and get started with this role play. You'll be the agent, I'll be the seller.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. Not sure if you could help me. I'm calling about 123 Main Street. Is that house still for sale?
No, no, we pulled it off the market.
Oh, you pulled back. So it's not listed with Joe Blow Real Estate Company anymore?
No, no, it's not. At this point, we're just kind of thinking about what we're going to do. So we might hold on to it. I don't know if we want to go back for sale. I mean, at this point, it's just kind of we've been frustrated with the entire process that we want to take a break.
Wow, gotcha. I can totally understand it. My name is Bill Crespo. I'm with so and so real estate company, and I'm calling just to find out if that's still available. So let me ask you this question. In the meantime, I mean, do you think you'll be listing it in like 30 days again or sooner? What's your time frame?
I really have no idea. My husband and I have to talk about it because at this point, like I said, I've been getting calls since 7 o'clock in the morning, and it almost sounds like you guys are all saying the same thing. So that's why we're still thinking about what we want to do.
Yeah, no, listen, I feel for you. I mean, I got to work with these people, so it is tough. So let me ask you, as far as in the meantime, before you make a decision to do whatever, if I get a phone call for someone that's interested in your neighborhood, would it be okay to contact you?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay, great, great. You know what? That's great. So then I know a little bit more about the property. When's a good time for me to stop by for 15 and 20 minutes, take a look at it?
Well, you can just take a look at the pictures online, and I'm sure you have all of the information already.
Mhm.
Like I said, we don't really want any people coming through the house, especially because at this point we don't even know if we want to sell.
Right, right. But you do want to sell if you get a full price offer, right?
Well, it really depends. I mean, we've been on the market for 3 months and we didn't get any activity. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know how possible that will be.
Well, that's something that I'd like to find out about, and that's always going to help me when I go to the house. So, I mean, in the meantime, at least I'll know a little bit more about the condition of the house and give you an opinion of that. But when's a good time for me to stop by just for a couple minutes to take a look at it? I'm really good anytime after, let's say, 1 o'clock any day this week. What's convenient for you?
So you said you want to stop by the house just to take a look at it?
Yeah,
I'm really not sure. I mean, we have really busy schedules, but you know what? If you want, you can send me your information.
yeah, I'd love to do that. But I'd love to. Is it a weekend better, or is it going to be something like a evening? What is, if you had to? If you had to have me come by, what's a better day for you?
It would probably have to be on a weekend, but like I said, I don't want to. I mean, I don't really know what your intention is in coming over, so you can
Well, I
just take
mean,
a look
you
at
did
everything
say that.
online.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you said if someone was interested, you'd sell it, right?
I mean, if we got the number that we were looking for,
What is the number that you're looking for?
well, we had it for 800,000.
Okay. And do you have a little room there, or do you just want to, tell me a little bit about what you'd like to see? If you could kind of throw a magic wand at this, what would you like to have as far as the price on the property?
Well, the last agent said that 800 was like a very aggressive price, but yeah, we didn't get any offers. I mean,
Mm.
if we could get that price or more, obviously that's what we would want.
Yeah, and again, I'm not sure either way that I can even help you, but it's always important to see the property so that I could better communicate that to any leads that I'm working with, and just to understand what's going on with your house. So 15 or 20 minutes is all I need to do that. So I'm good this weekend. If that's good for you, I got a 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock on Saturday, or maybe Sunday if it's better.
Probably Saturday. I mean, you can just shoot me a text. You're calling me on my cell phone.
Okay, so I'll shoot you a text, and if we had to pencil in a time, what time would be convenient on Saturday?
I would say, I don't know, maybe like 11 a.m.
11 a.m. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pencil in that on my calendar. Once you pencil that in your calendar, and then what I'll do on Friday, I'll just check with you and see if that's okay. Would that be good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so 11 o'clock on Saturday, I've got that down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you, I got your name here from the listing. I'll go ahead and send you my card and my information. And that way you know who you're talking to, because then things come up and you just want to make sure you got the right person coming in your house. And I'll go ahead and send that out to you today. And I'll check back with you on Friday if that's good.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
And that's it.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Well, hopefully everyone that's watching can kind of catch and saw what you did there. So then the goal for you when you're prospecting expireds is still do the preview, right?
Yes,
Set
but here's the deal. We want to get face to face with the person as quickly as possible to try to sell them over the phone. If there's no urgency, right? And what I'm listening for in her voice is there some kind of life-changing event? Typically people go, you know what, we're moving to San Francisco or whatever, and we got a new job transfer. That didn't come up, and I didn't want to get too much involved with that right now because I know we don't have a lot of time. But the point is that with the issues of calling people, they're more apt to want to see you without pressuring on the sale. The other way that people are doing it is telling them and giving a salesy pitch. Hopefully you heard that I wasn't really pushing a salesy pitch, because we know from a psychological standpoint, the further you go away from selling them, the more they come to you. The more you go at them to try to sell them, the more they run away from you.
Mhm.
So it's just a psychological thing. Now, when I get to that house and they see me, I mean, if they want, I'll tell you right now, that person wants to sell their house. They don't know me, and they have a picture in their mind of who I am. And it's not a great picture, probably, you know? And so what I want to do is give them a picture out of my voice that they could feel comfortable with. Keep my questions below 5. In other words, if there's a scale of 1 to 10 and 5 to 10 are pushy, salesy questions, I want to keep it into the 1 to 5 range so that people are more apt to want to have a conversation with me, and there's less resistance. You did pretty good. You were still a little resistant, but a couple of things I did there, I kept going with the same end of it. Hey, I just want to take 15 to 20 minutes to take a look at it until you felt comfortable enough that I wasn't a salesy person. And you could tell me if I go above the line, don't you get defensive?
Yeah.
All of a sudden you feel sold. So the driver agents out there, the ones that want to close, you're gonna have a problem with this, right? Because I want to get down there and close them real hard, and I want to get the deal. I get that, but you actually are so impressed with yourself that you forget the psychology of selling. And so what we need to do is use psychology. There's 4 personality styles. I would think, say, Lloyd, the way she talked to me, she was probably in between a lot. She stayed kind of in the middle. She didn't give me enough to tell me who she was. So, I stayed in the middle also. Soon as you hear, what do you do when you hear somebody that's really getting along with you? Oh, well, gosh, you know what? We're going to take it off the market for a little bit. And all of a sudden you're just like them.
Mhm.
So that's the approach that I would take today. A couple of years ago, here's the script. Well, are you familiar with the techniques I use? That's one way. Another
Yeah.
one is, so what do you think stopped your home from selling? To me, that's a little intrusive. Now, not a bad question. If there's someone ready to list, they will probably give it up fairly quickly. But I'd rather take that question down further. You didn't give me that opportunity. And if you were definitely ready to sell, I would say something like, well, great. When I come over, I'll evaluate all this and kind of give you some my advice on why I think it hadn't sold.
Mhm.
And then we can share notes together, and you can see if you feel comfortable with me and confident I can sell your home, and all the numbers make sense. Then we can talk further about moving further together as a client. So I try not to go over the level 5 in questions. If that makes sense.
So what if I would have said, you're asking me to come, whether it's the weekend or the weekday? I mean, what if I would have told you, let me talk to my husband first and then I'll get back to you?
Well, great. So, Laura, let me ask you, what do you think your husband would think about getting it on the market?
Okay.
That kind of stuff.
There you
I
go,
say,
guys.
I don't know. I know your personality. Now I got to think of, is this person, because there's the ladies that would go, oh, he wants to get it on like tomorrow because he's fed up with this. Nah, now I know something. Or he may say, well, I want to get it on the market, but my husband, he's the one that's holding us back a little bit. But I told him we got to get it back on the market. So I need to gauge that person and try to determine what kind of personality that person has or what the issue may be, if there is one. And so that's how I would handle it.
So if they bring up a spouse, will you ask like, well, what does your husband, wife um think about the sale of the home or something along those lines, kind of like what you just said right now?
Yeah. I would just say, so what's your husband's thoughts about how it went with the sale or the price, or I would say, what is his thoughts on getting it back on the market?
Okay.
And but remember, when you start getting a little closer on the questions, if you don't have the beginning of your script down, if you don't have some type of engagement and conversation where there's interaction going on that's comfortable for that person, you're not going to get more information. And here's what happens to the agents: they get hung up on, or that person gets frustrated and they go into fight or flight. So what we want to do is keep the process going with engagement in the questions, so that you get the good scoop down the road. Because I need to know what the husband thinks. She may not
Yeah.
give it up, or she may, but that's an unknown factor that's going to be involved in the decision making process, and I want to be there with the right approach for both of them. And remember, there's two personalities, right? We
Mhm.
don't really know who the decision maker really is, the final decision maker. Could be the husband, could be the wife. You don't know. You really don't know. But if you can ask enough probing questions to get a feel for it, then now you're much more confident when you walk in. You're not nervous. You kind of know the play. And now you go in there and with some strategy. Because I believe every presentation is a little bit different. Every conversation is a little bit different. But if I could teach you the structure of a call, notice in the beginning of the call, hey, I'm not sure if you can help me. Instead of going, good morning, how are you? My name is, and then all of a sudden the person goes, you're a sales guy. You got to understand that the scripts right now are the same scripts that was there for 15, 20, 30 years ago. They're still using it today. But Bill, it works for some of these people. I heard them. Well, that's because that's them. You're not them. And I know you know that, right? So if you're exactly that type of personality with that agent, because I was the same way, man. Lord, you see these people on stage or these award places, and you go, how did they do that? How did they get to that point? I could do that. Or, they said this. And then you try it and you go, it's not working for me.
Mhm.
It's not working because you're not that person. And that person has whatever they have, that gift that allows them to say that, and it works.
Yeah. I
Different.
know something that you brought up even when we did our for sale by owner live stream regarding scripts is exactly what you just mentioned, and also how a lot of the older scripts kind of put people in fight or flight, and it's almost like you're getting set up for failure from the start because they probably already heard the same thing from other agents that are calling. So even in this role play that we did with the expireds, I mean, we hadn't practiced this role play, so I was not sure what you were going to say. You didn't know what I was going to say, but I can tell you that I was not expecting what you said. So it kind of threw me off because I was expecting to hear what a typical agent would have said.
Right, right, right. And another good one, I created what I call the advanced expire script. It's very easy, right? And so the mistake that we do with expires is that we got to do the research, right? Let's say you got to make some calls and you got to get things going. You want a listing, and then you go, well, I better be research to find out if this thing's on the market, because I don't want to go to jail in the real estate jail because I called a listing that's already been listed with that agent. So then how do you do this? Do you do all your research? You could. My suggestion is just go right to the point, because you're not getting in trouble if you go like this. Hi, hey, I'm not sure if you can help me. Is that house still listed with Bill Crespo? Your home? Simple. Yes, it is. Okay, thank you. I'll get in touch with him. Hang up, move to your next call. There's your research.
Yeah. I'm glad that you bring that up because I hear it a lot of times where agents say, well, should I research first? Should I see like the pictures and who and all this other stuff? And I'm like, no, it's just get to it. If for some reason, they are listed, then oh, I'm sorry, I'll make sure to take you off my list and then you move on. No big deal.
Yeah, and I think the preview approach is also safe from any type of issue. And I'll say this, we probably don't want to talk about it anymore, but if there's a DNC issue, you're not selling anything, in my opinion. Always check with your broker, make sure you're doing the appropriate thing. But in my opinion, I'm making a call and I'm inquiring and asking a question. As soon as I find out it's still for sale, great. Is it still listed with that guy? No, good. Then I can have a conversation with them because they're allowing me to go. Now, I'm not saying list with me. So the scripts are kind of set up to be salesy, which puts me in a little bit of predicament in the conversation. So I'm just saying I want to go see the house. So now I'm safe. They let me in. I didn't sell on the phone, but I did go on. All I'm selling them on is me seeing the house. I'm not selling on them listing with me, which I think is more appropriate under the laws, my opinion. Okay, I'm sure there's going to be all kinds of mixed opinions on that, but I like that approach for me because I feel more comfortable. And then when I'm at the house, it's showtime, right? I'm going to impress them. That I have this preview flow that gives you the step-by-step process on what you got to do when you're in that house, and that's with an expired or for sale by owner. But if we can go there with the intent to see it, now, listen. If you have a buyer. Hey, do you have a buyer? And you do have a buyer, no problem. But if you don't have a buyer, I'm not a big fan of telling them, well, I have to see your house first. Just tell them the truth. I don't have a buyer right now, but I always have buyers coming in. Is today or tomorrow convenient for me to stop by for 15 or 20 minutes? It's refreshing when people finally tell people the truth than to lie about whether or not you have a buyer or not. And I'm saying that directly because I know there's people using the script as, well, if I don't know yet if I see your house, and all it is trying to get a listing. And so, just people pick that up. People can pick that up.
Yes.
Especially if your whole conversation is all screwed up and you're saying that too. They go, this guy's selling me something. This lady's selling me something.
Yeah. So we are getting some comments. Let's see. Patrick is saying that the objection he usually hears is just not interested.
Okay, so Patrick, so when that happens, this is my opinion after 40 some years of selling. I now need to qualify what they just said. Because remember that here's what I think. There's another Loida and a Bill at another training going on right now for sellers to talk to agents. And they're giving them scripts to know how to keep you off of them, right? So to me, saying not interested, I don't know if that's real or not. So gosh, so always agreeing with people is important, right? Hey, so I'm not interested. Okay, great. No, I completely understand this. Let me ask you this question. If by chance I have someone that's interested in your neighborhood, can I call you or can I contact you? And if they say, yeah, give me a call. They're lying. They're lying. They're interested because if you put that money in top of their table and you give them a check for that amount of money, guess what? They're going to be happy and they're going to sell. Now, if I ask that question, if I do have someone that's interested in your neighborhood, I didn't say your house, right? So be careful of the vernacular. The words you use is so important to keep people under fight or flight. So let me ask you this, Bob. If I get someone that's interested in your neighborhood, would it be okay to contact you? This is the guy who said, I'm not interested. Well, yes. Give me a call. That'd be fine. The same guy said, I'm not interested. Great. So that I know a little bit more about your home. Is today or tomorrow convenient for me to stop by for 15 or 20 minutes? Now I get into the house. Now I have belly-to-belly, eye-to-eye contact with the person. Now I get to learn a bit more about, is there a life-changing event going on in the house? That kind of stuff. So I believe the first thing that comes out of someone's mouth is not true. It's a defensive method for them to deal with you. And here's the problem. Most of the agents believe what comes out of their mouth. You can't. You have to have a method of qualifying what they're saying. And it's almost like doing a sonogram on the body to see if what's going on there.
Yeah. Because then this goes also to Roy saying, what if the seller says, I need to think about it? It kind of ties into what, like the not interested.
Yeah, same thing. Hey, that's great. In the meantime, so the same, I'd like to simplify what we're saying. For expired, it's really one method. Okay, great. Agree with them. Hey, that's super. And let me ask you this. If I get a phone, do the same thing. Same script. If I get a phone call from someone interested in your neighborhood, would it be okay to contact you? Oh, yeah. Okay, got it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So does that help, Patrick and Roy? If the seller says that, yeah. So
Yeah.
what happens is that we get thrown off. There's a lot of physiological things going on with us. We get nervous and we get uptight. Okay. Just one thing that I need to remember now, I assume this, and I think this is a problem with a lot of people, is that you're sitting down when you're prospecting. Okay. And right now I'm standing. If anything, I have a butt lift, which I call better known as a stool, in case but elevating yourself gives you the ability to be more intense on the call, and you can now have better ability to respond back. Just even elevating yourself higher than sitting down like this and trying to make prospecting calls. This is showtime. Unless you have a physical problem, you need to be standing. And again, even though I'm standing, I still have my pad with this whatever this stuff is, Superphone, so that because you're going to be standing all day. But I can move my hands, I could talk, I could hear things better, I know how to respond. But sitting on your butt in a chair all day long and thinking you're going to be good at prospecting, I can tell you right now, 80% of the time, it's not going to work.
Mhm.
I mean, you'll be much better standing. And I've been standing for 25 years. I don't know any better. Even when I'm watching TV at home, I'm probably doing this stuff and watching TV standing up. I just can't sit down.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. And I was talking to an agent recently that wanted to do the previews, and she said, well, a lot of the expireds and even for sale by owners that are near me, they're like an hour away minimum. So like, should I, obviously I don't want to waste my time going over there if nothing happens. So is it important, or should I at least pre-qualify or ask more questions to dig deeper before I go out there and just kind of set a preview? Because what if they're not even motivated?
Well, if it's an expired, they were motivated at one time. So we know that they were thinking about selling. So if they're, I mean, you will know that by the way they're answering you when you make the call. So if they're whacked out people, like there's some listings out there that I $100,000 overpriced or some obnoxious amount, unless there's a life-changing event. And that's another thing that we need to determine as we speak to someone. Now, they don't always give it up, but when you find out there's a divorce, health problem, job problem, financial gain, not as bad. It doesn't have to be negative. It could be a financial gain that they have, job transfer, whatever it may be, is a life-changing event. Now, that life-changing event is an internal motivator to get them to do something because they got to do something, right? So you don't have to apply that type of pressure on them. The life issue will do that. So for me, if that expired has a life issue, they're on the top of the list. Now,
Yeah.
the marketplace, if it looks like it's completely, I've seen some obnoxiously priced properties and I'm going, they may have a life issue, but these people are out of whack. So the question is, hey, Bob, hey, it's thanks for letting me come by, but I got a quick question because then they may let me come by. Are you dead set firm on that price, or are you going to adjust it down a little bit to the marketplace? No, there's no way I'm going to make my changes. This is my price, and they're going to get it. If anything, I want to increase it. Hey, you know what? Thank you so much. I'd rather turn you down than let you down. So I'm going to pass on this because, it seems to me until, unless you want to wait a while, I mean, you could probably wait a while, but right now it may not work for me, but thank you so much. I'm going to move on to another call.
Hmm. Okay.
Makes
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. Because even, let's see, Rosie said some scripts want you to pre-qualify them over the phone. So even from what you're saying right now, I mean, it's just kind of asking the questions, and as you're having the conversation, things will
Look,
come
if
out.
if someone says, yeah, I'm interviewing, yeah, this is a prospect that hasn't said I'm going to put it back on the market. Now, if someone says to you, you know what, yeah, we're starting to interview, and Friday we'll make our decision on Friday, but we are interviewing right now. Great, I'd like to have the opportunity to come by and talk to you about my Seller Advantage program.
Mhm.
What do you mean Seller Advantage program? Well, it's my program. I'm not sure if your house will qualify for it, but I'd like to come by and share my information with you to see whether or not it does. And if it does, we can talk further about it. So when's your last appointment? Well, it's gonna be Thursday at 4. Well, okay. Well, do you want me to come by Friday, or is Thursday better for you?
Yeah.
Right.
Perfect.
So
Mhm.
that's the approach I would take on something like that.
All right. I have another one. Let's say the seller says, "Why didn't you bring the buyer when the property was on the market?"
That's a great question. Your agent never called me up to tell me it was for sale. That's one way of doing it.
Mhm.
I knew nothing about your property. I never saw anything on it. That's one way of doing it. That's, you're slamming the agent. The other way of doing it could be, well, you know what? There's so many properties on the market right now, and the market is moving pretty quickly. Nicer houses are selling really quick. So obviously there was something going on with your house. I just want to come by and take a look at it. When's a good day for me to come by and take a look at it? It's another part. Here's another thing that I think is also important. I said this earlier to another group, is that you have to sound like you know what you're saying. Like if this question, why didn't you bring the buyer to the property when it was on the market? I mean, you're screwed. You're done. You might as well hang up because you're not being confident. Another way is that why didn't you bring her on the market? What should I? Wasn't your confidence in your delivery is going to be extremely important, and it's always about them. I could hear someone's out there thinking you should talk about the fact that I'm so busy and I don't get around because I'm selling so many houses. That's the wrong approach. It's never about you. It's always about them. Always about them. So if you start bringing up, it's like the old objection is, well, I want to reduce the commission. Well, you don't understand. My broker does this, and I get only this, and that's just a little bit. If I have to spend, they could care less about you. The nicest people could care less about you. They're more worried about them. So everything is always about them. If that makes sense.
Yes, yes. No. And we're getting a lot of comments, which is great. So you guys can keep them coming.
Yeah.
Next one is, what if they said to call them after a few months when the market is better and then they'll consider selling?
Oh, this is so good. This is a good one. So, Bob, let me ask you this question. If it made financial sense to move your time frame up, would you consider it?
Possibly.
Okay. So that's a setup question, right? Every question is and this is really important to understand. If you want to make a statement, right? You just want to answer that. You always have to set up the statement with a question first. You never just make a statement. Okay. Why? Because you need to get that brain on the other end prepared for what you're going to say. It's being done to you in churches. It's being done for you when you go to a motivational thing with people. Hey, do you guys want to make a lot of money? Yes. Now he gets to talk to you, right? And so it's all psychological. They need to get everybody's focus on what you're going to say. So right here, I'm going to say, listen, if it made financial sense, Bob, to move your time frame up, would you consider it? Question, quiet, let them answer. Well, yes, Bill, what do you mean? Okay. Well, here's my concern for you. It's first words out of my mouth, right? Because I want to let them know I'm empathetic to their situation. Here's my concern for you. What we're seeing right now, that as we get into the spring market, more houses are coming on the market, which means more competition. So if you want to get the most out of your property right now in equity, I'd like to share with you my Seller Advantage program that talks a lot about getting as much as you can out of the house as far as your equity is concerned in the right time of the year. So when would be a good time for me to share this information with you and come by your house?
That's awesome. I love that one.
Yeah.
Everyone that's watching, you'll have to rewind and, replay this video quite a few times because even just this specific one, everything that you said, it was like perfect. And, even what you've talked a lot about asking a question and then just like not saying anything. Cause sometimes we get into this habit of just like almost like you want to justify everything you said. And next thing you know, you've talked for like 30
Yeah.
seconds and you lost somebody
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. Yeah. It's called verbal vomit, right? It's just verbal vomit. And a lot of it, and this is why, so interesting that you said that. You just triggered something in my mind. Last night, I went to I'm a firearms instructor, guys. So I went to a class about injuries, and it's called Stop. Well, I've been certified Stop the Bleed, but it's about what happens with people when they're bleeding out in front of you. Right? There's a thing called OODA loop, and I forgot the actual. It's an acronym for. In other words, you see a tragedy, right? And all of a sudden, you need to now realize that you have the skill and relax and make a decision to do what you're going to do. A person could bleed out and die in 3 minutes when they bleed out, right? So what happens in calling, how you going to tie that into prospecting, is the fact that we get so excited about making the call that you haven't made the decision before to calm down. You're the doctor, they're the patient. Don't allow them to say something that makes them feel like they're smarter than you. And a lot of you have what I call the imposter syndrome. And if you have that imposter syndrome, you need to go buy this book called The Alter Ego, right? Because whatever this is I train out of this book. So I had a client. I got to tell you this story. This is good. Do we have time? So Katrina was an agent in Atlanta who I was coaching for the longest time about prospecting. And, no, Bill, I just so nervous when I make a call. And, I just don't like people rejecting me. I said, well, do you understand that you sometimes have to create an alter ego, that you sometimes have to put that other person, Katrina, on the shelf, and you now have to be this person. And that's just for the time when you're prospecting. Okay. So I suggest Katrina read the book, and then we're going to go over this together. She read the book. I called up next coaching call. Bill, I said, yeah. She was like, different. I go, what's up? She goes, how did your prospecting go? Well, all I know is I'm no longer Katrina. I said, well, who are you? She goes, I'm Trina. I said, really? She's just right. Because Trina makes the calls. Trina doesn't care what they say. Trina closes. I said, yeah. And I can see her head going, yeah, I'm a Trina. So what she did was create this alter ego. And in the book, you're going to notice that even athletes have to change their personality on the field of play. When you're prospecting, you're in a field of play. You can't be the mom that just dealt with the kids. You can't be the husband who just got the car, was all messed up, and you're all frustrated. As soon as you get on that phone, you're now in the field of play. And so for me, when I was prospecting, this is kind of stupid, but that's just me, is that I would play Tina Turner, right? So Tina Turner, Simply the Best, would come on. It's getting me pumped up. Simply the Best. I would play that music. And I'm like the only one in the office prospecting because everybody else is like, I don't know, sleeping. And I'm hearing this noise and the beat's going, done, and Simply the Best, better than all the rest. And I'm going, all right, I'm ready to make some calls now. I'm getting my mind ready. Listen, man, no one loves prospecting. No one loves. I know one person that loves prospecting. She's a millionaire, but she loves prospecting. Okay. So you have to get prepared. You can't just leave your house or move to another room and just finish your laundry and wash your dishes and think you're going to be really good at prospecting. You have to understand you've got to have an alter ego. The one that could bounce. It's like a superhero. So she was Trina. As soon as she's done prospecting, she goes back to Katrina, the mom, and she's the mom. So she found a way to get into that state of mind, which is called, what technically is called the ideal performance state.
It's Can you
imagine if I'm able to grab all you guys who's ever watching this, and we're going to all get together, and I train you like this, and you're with me, you will be successful. You will make the calls, and you'll make the most money you've ever made in 1 year in real estate. Guaranteed. I've coached people that were teams that were doing 2,000 deals a year to 200 deals a year to people just wanting to list 2 houses a month. They never were taught these things that are so I would say, incredibly helpful and detrimental to the success of prospecting. But what ends up happening is that you give up. And I get it. You get frustrated. Someone hangs up on you. You're all upset. And you have this emotional roller coaster. The expireds, if you get in the right state of mind, are just a person you call. I was talking to you earlier about Yada. Yada just started calling. Yada, one of my clients, was afraid of. And she goes, last week, even though I didn't get successful, I didn't let it bother me.
Yeah.
she was in the right state of mind.
Yeah, no, I love that you're talking about the alter ego because for anyone that has been following me for a long time, they know that I love Wonder Woman. I have like the Wonder Woman posters. I have
Yeah.
like the actual life size Wonder Woman. For a long time, I had it right behind me, and I always get the question of like, Loida, how are you so confident making phone calls? Well, when I'm making phone calls, I'm Wonder Woman because she doesn't care if you're gonna cuss me out or if she just keeps going, and that's my mindset as I'm making these phone calls. It's like I'm not gonna let anyone or anything stop me because
Right.
there's certain goals and things that I want to hit.
And for those that think that's kind of goofy, you look on the football field. One of my clients was an NFL player. He was 6'4", 300 some pounds, an offensive lineman. Big. The nicest guy in the world. But he killed people on the field. How did he do that? He had to get in the right state of mind, in his field of play. Right? So we have to do that. It's not fun. You're going to get rejected. But as Lloyd has said, if you get into the right state, hers was Wonder Woman, mine was with Tina Turner. I was able to accomplish a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, right before we wrap up, you mentioned your coaching. So, obviously, there's probably agents that are watching this and they're like, you know what? I really like Bill, your style. Can you tell everyone where to reach you and how to connect with you regarding anything that you do have going on?
Yeah. So if you have any questions, just email me at BC, B as in boy, C as in cat, at path, PATH, the number 2 pro.net, BC at path to pro.net. Go on to, if you're not in there right now, go to Lead Gen Academy, which is a YouTube channel. The other thing too is that I just decided that we need to get to more people. We got to make people go up a confidence ladder, let's say. So if you're having difficulties, get a hold of me. Let's understand where you need help. Only if you're committed to change.
Absolutely.
I see people that I want more business. Okay. But are you committed to making a change in your behavior so that you succeed? I am a performance, as I can't speak right now, performance development person, right? I do it in other aspects of business, but I do a lot in real estate because that's all I've been for the last 40 years. But I want to change the state of your performance. That's a little bit of, actually, that's a lot of a different approach than what you see out there in training today in coaching. So go to YouTube or go to my Facebook group, which is the Path to Pro Sales Mastery. Look me up, get involved with there, message me, and let's have a conversation because I will not let you down, but I'm not going to baby you. If you want to win at this game, we've got to make some changes. I was a dad with 6 kids. So every house was important for me to sell. So I'm not, and I'm selling right now still. And because I need to keep my hands on and my feet in the ground so that I understand what you're going through. And,
Exactly.
and that's what I do.
And also your Instagram is there. So for everyone watching, also you can send him a DM if you're like, I don't even know where the links are. And I'm sure that Bill will make sure to get you all of the links and connect with you all. And let's see, we just have one more and we're going to wrap this up. Let's say it's an expired bill. Bill, what are you going to be doing differently to market my home?
Well, ma'am, Miss whatever Smith, that's a great question. And so when I go to your house, I'm going to look at it very closely. I'm going to see whether or not it fits into my Seller Advantage program, and if it does, I know we can do what hasn't been done. But if it doesn't qualify, I will tell you up front. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity. So when I come over your house, we're going to go over a lot of details on that. So I want to confirm the time. So I'm not giving them, see what they're doing here is trying to take control of the conversation. I've got to leave what I call a curiosity bomb in the conversation, almost like a cliffhanger on a movie. Hey, when I get to your house, I'll talk to you about my Seller Advantage program. I'll share that information. Now, the other thing, I have to give them a way out. They need to feel comfortable. I can't nail them to the wall So if it doesn't work for you, if I don't see that I can help you, I'm okay with that. Just want to let you know when I come over your house, I'll evaluate it and give you my best advice. And if it doesn't seem like be something that I could work with, I'll give you some advice on what to do. But in the meantime, I'm looking forward to seeing your house Saturday at 3.
Perfect. Awesome. No, that's great. I think everyone loved it. Even Yara said, let's see this one. The Seller Advantage program is gold. I love it how
Yada,
you tie it in. Everything, everything is
Yada, Yada is my new little project here. I said to her earlier, I said, thank you, man. You did a great job moving. We talk a lot about in coaching, piggybacking on skills, right? She made calls that she didn't make before. Now today we talked about personality styles a little bit more. She's on her way. She's
awesome.
gonna do good. Thanks,
Yeah, way
Yada.
to go, Yada. Yeah, no, I know it can be scary and intimidating, but as long as you're doing it and Bill's leading the way, I mean, you're going to be winning. So, Bill, thank you so much for doing this. Once again, we love expireds, FISBOs, that little bell. So, hopefully, you guys that are watching this, you need to watch the replay a couple times, take notes because Bill gave you some great objection handlers and, dialogue that you can use. So remember to connect with him, shoot him a DM on Instagram if you want to know all of these groups and just want to learn more about his coaching, and share this video with somebody else. And Bill, any last words?
No, go at it, and just remember that you're not going to be the same person when you prospect. It's okay not to be that person who's shy, not to be that person who's frustrated. Just get into another state, like Lorna said. If you got to put that poster up, but I would highly recommend to understand that and get the book Alter Ego by Todd Herman. Don't get, well, the audio may not be too bad. And with this, I don't always recommend audios, but I like marking them up and putting stuff in here to remind me to go back. But this may not be a bad audio book to also get. So good luck with that. And thanks for the opportunity, Lord. I really
Yes,
enjoyed myself.
of course.